Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is Chima. He is a software engineer from London. Well, actually, I know he lives in Milton Keynes now, but we'll get into that later. And he is also the creator of Points Pilot. Chima, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the show. Chima and I go way back. We go before COVID, okay? You know what's funny? Chima and like another of our mutual friends, Saloni, this was like a chance meeting, which you don't usually, it doesn't really happen, which it just kind of happened. So I'm going to take you guys to pre-COVID, the good days. And like, we went to this vegan brunch, right? And I knew the guy, it was like, what's his name? Paul something. He got Paul. Yeah, but he had like Dungle Book. I think that's what he used to call like fitness, like influencer.
He's still
And
on YouTube now as well, actually.
yeah, exactly. So I had met him like a couple years prior at like a networking event, and then he was telling us about this vegan brunch that he does and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, I want to go, I want to go. So I was like, let me know, keep me posted. So I finally went. I didn't like hit up anybody to be like, okay, come with me, like let's go to this. I'm very much like a lone wolf in that kind of thing. Like I'll just do things by myself, not thinking that I needed to socialize. I was just here to enjoy vibes and go home, And so Paul put me on a table because I got there very early. It was like 11 a.m. Yeah. It was like, brunch. It was like 11 to like 4 or 5. It wasn't that long, but it's quite early. And then I was just chilling, and then he puts you there. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I think you were coming with somebody as well, but they didn't show up. I can't remember how it went.
Yeah. I was supposed to come with someone, and then when they dropped out, I was in a catch-22 because like, should I go and be a bit of a loner, or should I just go home even though I've made the journey? And I thought, I'll just go.
Exactly. So I remember we were just chatting, like, okay, as strangers do, being polite, and then Saloni came and they put her there because she was by herself. And then literally the whole entire time we were there, we were drinking Prosecco, we were playing games. Chima is not just an intelligent man, he is a software engineer. He's like, he will speak all this language, which I have no understanding of what he's talking about, but he likes to whoop us in games all the time. It was just consistent. We were playing Connect 4, we lost. We played Jenga, we lost. We played what was it? Frustration. We lost.
Yeah.
Just like what can we do? Like, and it was just pure vibes, like literally the entire time. And it wasn't like any awkwardness or anything like that. We just literally all got on very well. And years later, we're still like in contact as well. So what do you remember about like that time?
Because the way we all got on, you'd think we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, ever since we linked up from then, it's still been vibes. So long as you're out of the country or in and out.
Yeah.
So the big ups don't happen as often, but it's just still been the same. It's been really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And we just support each other. Like Saloni's a vegan chef, and she's so talented and amazing. Like
my days.
Like wow, like she's been. I don't think I've ever seen her in London in the past 2 years. Like she's been living her best life in the south of France, and then she's just everywhere. I'm like, I can't keep up with what she's doing, which is of course live your life, like travel. Because even when it was peak COVID, Chima was out there in Barbados with the expats, living his life, and he can work from home wherever he wants to. So he's just out here, and I was just like,
that was the best time, man.
Yeah.
Last.
I know. So this is the life of a software engineer. Us creatives, we just live that broke life. Okay, we don't have this. He's got his own house out in Milton Keynes, like just living his life. Like some of us are still trying to save for deposit. So yeah. So Chima, you're a software engineer. What is your journey? How did you get to become this?
So my dad actually used to be around computers when I was younger, but he used to be more on the hardware side. So he'd build computers, put all the CPUs in, like the hard drives and stuff like that, and then he'd sell off an entire machine. And I think at that time, he'd always task me with watching the computer whilst the stuff installs, so it doesn't go in screensaver. So that was my first introduction into like computers in general. But I've always been a curious person, so having computers in my house, I started playing games, a lot like computer games. Then I started designing, and I think I got into like web development when I was probably in college or maybe just before college. And I was on a Barclays website and I was like, oh, this looks really nice. Like, I wonder how they built it. And that literally was where like the bug started for building websites or like engineering in any way, shape, or form. Then I went to uni. I had one module on web design. And then in like a few months in uni, I was freelancing with what I'd learned on that module. And then after that, I just hit the ground running. Graduated 2012, got my first job in 2013. And then, yeah, I've just not stopped coding since. So it's been about 13 years of fun, I always say, because I was one of the lucky ones out of my friendship group. Because when you finish uni, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. And they have that little, I call it like the graveyard period of like, you're just miserable doing odd jobs here and there. But I managed to walk straight into what I wanted to do as a career. And I haven't stopped ever since. It's changed in some ways because after lockdown, well, after Barbados, I came back and I quit everything. I was like, I was CTO of a friend's company at the time. I quit that. Had a full-time job whilst I was in Barbados working for a UK company. I quit that. I quit everything basically and just started from scratch, went contracting, saved for a house, bought a house, and then I'm here trying to build my own products this year pretty much. So yeah, it's been a good journey. Been a good
Okay.
journey.
Okay. And is it still very easy? Do you feel like you was at like an advantage at the time when you entered into the industry? Because 2012, yeah, that's not that long ago when, social media was still a thing and like obviously internet was, but in comparison to where it is now, do you feel like you was at an advantage entering the industry when you did?
Uh, I'd say yes. As a junior at the time,
Mhm.
it was a lot easier to enter the market just because there were more junior roles, and I
Mm.
say engineering had a bit more mysticism about it. I feel like right now it's very, very accessible, which is a good
Mhm.
thing. Also, it's also a bad thing for a lot of juniors because there's
Mhm.
loads of competition,
Okay.
and now with AI around, AI can do the job of a lot of junior developers. So
Mhm.
the roles are a bit more difficult to come by, but I went to like an event from a company called BYP, Black Young Professionals Network.
Oh yeah, I know them. Mhm.
And from there, pretty much we got talking. I gave her my playbook for getting interviews and jobs in XYZ. In like a month, she had found a junior role.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, I'd say it's definitely harder as a junior. And I would also say as a senior now, it is a little bit more difficult just because the salaries in the UK, they're just not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've been contracting for 5 years.
Mhm.
I was doing the same role and getting a day rate.
Mhm.
Um, and now coming back, I'm now looking to get back into perm or continue contracting.
Mhm.
But the perm salaries, they're just,
Listen, it's no joke. It's no
they're
joke.
just yeah, man, it's disappointing. It really is because
Mhm.
there's a lot of talent in the UK, but
Mhm.
yes, it's really, really disappointing to be honest. So
Honestly, because like people look at the tech industry and they're like, that's where the money is. Get into tech. Like, obviously, I'm obviously in the creative industry, but I've been still freelancing, but our industry's really been in the trenches in the
mhm.
last couple of years. So it's like I've been having to do outside work stuff whilst freelancing. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
basically
yeah.
constantly working. So people have said tech. So I'm like, okay, well, what can I do in tech? I have no
Mhm.
experience in tech. So,
Yeah.
like, so if somebody wants to like get into the tech industry, like what can they go after? What would you recommend?
I'd say, especially someone in your position,
Mhm.
you've been in the creative industry, yes, but you're really good at organizing and juggling projects.
Mhm.
I'd look to be a project manager in a tech company in some way, shape, or form. I'd say
Mhm.
that's the easiest route in
Okay.
from your current background. I wouldn't worry
Mhm.
about learning code. I wouldn't worry about specific skill sets unless you really wanted to. There's no
Okay.
problem learning those things.
Mhm.
I'd say project management would be a good one for you specifically. For someone else, there's always something called DevOps, which is me as a developer, I'd build code and then I'd publish that. DevOps pretty much manage that process between when it leaves my computer to when it gets published and maintains
Mhm.
that pipeline. You do have to learn a few things around coding, but you don't have to be able to actually. be able to build an entire application, but you will
Okay.
have to be familiar with a lot of things. So I'd say those are quite popular, especially with cybersecurity
Mm-hmm.
as well. That's a good industry to get into because the more people create AI products, the more
Mm-hmm.
security risks are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say cyber's a very beefy one to get into if anyone really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I honestly wouldn't worry about coding unless you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what I'd
Okay.
just.
Okay. And you were saying obviously you're potentially looking to get back into permanent and you're currently a contractor. And we all know that, UK salaries are terrible. You're applying for top jobs and they're like 40,000 a year. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What's that gonna do for anybody? Like, like what's that gonna do? You think, oh
Like,
yeah, we need a we're a family, you know.
hmm.
Yeah, I have my own family. Well, I
Yeah,
don't. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
being
yeah.
hypothetical. But like,
Got
I
bills
can't
to
feed my kids on 40K a year.
pay.
Okay? Like, no.
Even
You know?
people on K currently, they need to be on 40K. So yeah, it's an
Yeah.
interesting.
So, but do you think it like is your rate higher as a contractor than like working in-house? Like,
So I've been on my highest day rate, which
mhm.
isn't even the peak of contracting.
Okay.
Honestly, my
Hmm.
highest day rate has been 500 a day, right?
Okay. Okay.
500 to 550, anywhere near that, right? So
Mm,
as a business, you're making at the top end 11K a month, and then your tax is like 30%. And then you've got between 7 and 8K to play around with as profit that you can actually withdraw into your personal account.
mm-hmm.
Um, so pinging that over to like a permanent salary, you're looking at 130 to 150K a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the amount of roles available at that price point for one
Mm-hmm.
is few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of hoops you are jumping through to get that salary
Mm-hmm.
is almost not worth it, basically.
Of course.
Um,
Of course.
and tech is one of those industries where the interviews to get into the role is actually harder than the actual role.
Mm,
I've never done a tech test, got the job, and then suffered the same way I have to get the role. It's just very weird. Oh,
mm-hmm.
you guys are trying to prove, to be honest
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
I would do a task that I'd be doing as a day-to-day role
Yeah.
in the job, and then you judge me on how I do the tasks that will actually be done whilst I'm on the job.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, so the day rates and the salaries don't compare. But to be honest, they're not supposed to because you're paid as a business as a contractor, especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
contracted the way I am for a limited company.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I'm always willing to accept like a 10, maybe 20% drop.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the game when you go back to perm. But even then, few and far between. It's a
Yeah.
it's an interesting climate right now, I'd say.
Okay. Well, listen, I feel like everything is going up, but salaries aren't going up.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And that's been consistent in the UK, to be
yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah, for the past like 3 years. And it's like,
Mm,
okay, so I leave my house and I'm like, oh, £100. What did I spend it on? Like it's
yeah,
just crazy. You get under. I mean, you're out in Milton Keynes, so in London, you're traveling. Oh, £15 just to get to A to B.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
it's just mad. It's mad. But I wanted to ask you. So you see, obviously, you're a software developer and I
Mm.
mean engineer. So it's like for people who don't understand, can you break it down into like the basic like like they're 5 years old, what do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do?
yeah.
Because I think a lot of people just hear, okay, there's money, but this is that, like, how do you do that? Because you've worked in so many different you know
Company.
industries, a part of what you do in terms of like e-commerce and health tech, and
Mm.
there's so many different ways, or like security, what is it, and like buying things online, like, so like
Mm.
what are the intricacies of that, and how how does that navigate in your skills as well? Because most people just feel like coding is just like on the computer all day, which it is, but you're doing
Yeah,
so much.
it is. So I think fundamentally, whether
Mhm,
you're creating a website or you're building a mobile app or you're building some sort of desktop application or something, you're pretty much building how it works. So you as a user, you'll open the application, we control what you see, we control what happens when you click one of the buttons, we control what happens when you, for example, submit a form, and what happens to your data after that. There's like strains of development, so front end developer and then back end developer. Front end developers create what you see and what you interact with. a backend developer will decide what happens to that data, where it's stored, how quickly it comes back, deal with a lot of security practices with servers and things like that. So I sit on the front end. Depending on the kind of company I'm working at, I will sit on both ends. So I've been doing that for quite some time, I'd say. And I'd say AI is probably able to do quite a lot of what front end or back end developers can do. It really does depend on the person using it. And the intricacies between them. Some people say back end's harder, some people say front end's harder. It really just depends who you are, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the challenge for front end developers is browsers, because we have to make sure it works on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Challenge for back end developers is really the amount of users you have to service and servers, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And
in a nutshell.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, from what you're saying, it kind of makes me understand people who are paranoid about using the internet and all this kind of stuff, because it's
Yeah.
like, people just feel like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's me as well. Like, you're using like all these apps and websites just freely because it's like, well, this is my account, this is my private conversation with so and so on Instagram or whatever. And it's like, well, no, there's people running this consistently 24 hours a day, and it's like, when you think about AI and how it's consistently taking over, I mean, I was against it, but then I was like, kind of like, I need to just get ahead of it because it's integrated in our society. It's helping people a lot, and we always knew this was gonna come eventually. I mean, Siri came out in 2012, and we was like, what the hell is this? It's better now, but like. So it's like, what's your thoughts on AI kind of really coming in as like this huge digital tool that is really shaping people's lives? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I'd say it's very helpful in terms of speed. Applying it to my role, I'd say an application that would have taken me, who's quite experienced, to build, it would have taken maybe a few months. With AI, I could probably build it, depending on how much I want to use AI, probably in a week.
Okay.
So it speeds up development entirely, but I'd say a lot of the times, and you'll find with a lot of companies, there's studies coming out now of how companies are using AI, and they're basically saying that it's now taking them more time to build just because AI creates problems within code, and you now have developers having to go through and rectify problems that AI built into the code. So it's definitely not perfect. Yeah, place for it, especially in other industries. I'd say it can probably help anywhere from, I don't know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's of work. I know for myself, I've written project briefs and things like that. I've outlined contracts and then had them overlooked by a lawyer to save a bit of money and things like that. I do think, though, we're in a very dangerous place as well. At every given point when technology has got better, we've got worse.
Yeah.
And if we are offloading a lot of our thinking to AI, we're in a very rough place in a number of years. So I'd say I'm for it in some ways, but I guess I would be very concerned if there wasn't some sort of regulation around and limits on the use of it, especially the data that a lot of people are putting in. A lot of people are using it as therapists, and that's just not
Yo.
Yeah. People who are forwarding text messages from their ex-wife and saying, how do I respond? That's a basic human skill that could be in the tool shed already, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So I'd say I'm grateful, but I'm also a little bit worried.
No, I totally understand, because like, I very rarely use AI. Like, when I'm doing like applications, and I'm like, like when you're doing the application, right? Or especially for funding and stuff like that, they ask you the most dumbest questions, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? So I go to AI and I'm like, what does this mean? Then it breaks it down for me. I'm like, oh, okay. Then it helps me. That's all I need. Like, it's just like somebody breaking down what the hell these people are trying to say without saying it. And that's how I use it. I do it as spell check as well. Like, okay, that's what I do as well. Like, okay, check the grammar. And then sometimes it does the most. It starts adding all these next level words. I'm like, okay, no one told. So
Mhm.
that's how I use it. Just as like spell check or just what does that mean? Oh, okay, fine. And then I write it myself.
Yeah.
And it gives me like points where I'm like, oh, okay, I can use that. I can take this. That's it. But these people are just copy and pasting. I'm like, no, like you sound like a robot. You can't
Mhm.
just like take what AI is saying and do that. You have to like at least just take the suggestions and go
Yeah.
from there, you know. But as somebody who's like, ignorant to the whole industry as well, how does AI work? Like, do you know, like, how can you explain, like, how does it actually work? Like, what is the definition of artificial intelligence? Because obviously it's man-made, but it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of in a way like giving it a brain, or it's like they put like, how they put everything from books onto the internet. It just kind of feels like they've done that with AI. So how does it work?
Well, I'd say fundamentally, if you're using any AI tool, any AI product, you've got to feed it data, right?
Okay.
And from that data is where it derives its responses to you. So the reason why, I'll give you an example. There's a website called Stack Overflow in my industry, right?
Mhm.
And it's
I
a
think I know
website.
this. I know this Stack Overflow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, it's a forum, right, where you can get
yeah.
help, advice, and things like that. Now they've got different mini ones as well. Like they've got one specifically for software engineering. Um, AI is only, I'd say, ChatGPT and things like that. When you ask it a software development question,
Mhm.
scrubbing the internet for everything that's ever been asked around that topic, and it's going to feed it back to you. So your responses with AI is only ever going to be as good as the data fed into it.
Right. Okay.
Not, which in some ways is good, but in other ways is bad, because let's
Mhm.
say you're trying to get a new perspective about something. Well, it can only give you perspectives that have been produced already. It can't
Right.
give you
Okay.
anything at
Mhm.
this current moment in time, right? Uh,
Okay.
so that's what I'd say as a definition, or maybe an explanation, just because yes, software engineering is one industry, but AI is also not the same industry I'm in. I'm not in the
Of
AI industry,
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'll come across it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wouldn't say I'm an expert in that field in any way,
Mm-hmm.
shape, or form, but from my understanding, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
give.
No, that makes sense. And I thought because you're closest to it, so you'd be able to give me like a
Mm.
good definition of it, and that makes total sense. But like people have watched all those movies back in the day, like I, Robot and all that stuff with Will Smith. Do you ever feel like that it could like develop a mind of its own and take us over?
There's been there's a company that's developed that was working on something. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was either a company called Anthropic or Meta, and they built an AI that was negotiating with them when they tried to shut it down.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I think we're already in that dangerous zone that I was speaking about earlier, where
Mm-hmm.
creating something that is going to be beyond our control.
Okay. Okay.
Shut it down, and they started the AI itself was circumventing the actual process of shutting itself down.
Wow.
So for
Mm.
that shows awareness from a
Mm-hmm.
computer program for
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Also it shows personality,
Mm.
because main is resistance.
Okay. Okay.
That's a protest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're in dangerous territory already, and I'd say that people
Mm-hmm.
are going even further. Like they're just going even further. So I
Okay.
know Mark Zuckerberg has
Well,
been handing
no.
out 1 million a year salaries to top people with
Mm.
really strong engineering backgrounds, PhDs, all kinds of qualifications, because they're trying to build a super AI. Now, that doesn't fill me with any confidence about where we're going in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything that could be more dangerous
Mm-hmm.
based on what they tried to build already. So
Exactly. Exactly. Because remember, there's that robot woman they created, and Saudi Arabia made
it's out
her
in Iran.
citizen or something like that. Like they're
Right.
just doing this foolishness, and it's like it's not gonna end well. Okay,
And
it's not gonna
I don't
end
see
well.
this in the world tool. I don't see this in the world tool.
Mm-hmm.
I see a very docile
Uh,
workforce, a very redundant workforce, people out of jobs,
yeah.
mass unemployment if things get that bad. And to
Yeah.
be fair, we're kind of already there, but we're kind of, I'd say it's slow, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's slow to filter through to different industries, because I know in mine, I've had mates who've been unemployed for a year now. the job market is just
Mhm.
market of yesterday. So it's an interesting place we're in, and I think AI is not going to make it any easier.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what is the state of your industry at the moment? Like, where do you think it's going? Are you positive about it outside of AI? But like, where do
Mm,
you think, do you feel like it's oversaturated as well?
I don't worry about saturation just because
Hmm.
saturation is demand.
Okay.
And I think saturation will force people to do better faster.
Okay.
Um, so if you do want to compete in a market that's saturated, you just have to get competitive. You got to upskill. It's no longer like a one-click apply on LinkedIn, get on the phone, call a recruiter, get into people's inboxes,
Hmm.
find roles. Like people are using AI to get jobs. Well, what can you use AI to make yourself more competitive?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Learn coding languages in 7 months because they used AI to teach them, and
Hmm.
now technical products and they're making money. So you can get competitive, 110%.
Okay.
Uh, I'd say the state of my industry right now isn't very good.
Hmm.
My contract finished in, I want to say, first week in May.
Mm.
I'd find that after about 3 weeks, maybe I'd put out a few feelers and I'd get a role. I'd get a new contract role lasting 3 or 6 months. That
Okay.
hasn't been the case.
Mm.
It's not the same as it was in
Uh,
any way. Form. And I find that in my community of contractors as well, who are also engineers, it's the same. They're experiencing exactly the same thing. So I say there's a slump in my industry at the
hmm.
minute, but I wouldn't say it's any worse than it has been. I'd say it goes in, and I'd
Okay.
say this is just a low point. And I'd say with AI being the way it is, and with salaries being the way they are, and with companies being tight on the money,
Yeah.
I'd say it's going to be an interesting time for a lot of developers moving forward. But
Okay.
again, I'd
Hmm.
say that there's pockets where you can compete. Um, so yeah.
Okay. And what's the diversity like in your industry? We see the stereotypes of like the tech bros, they're very clicky, and they don't understand most things, or it's very sexist as well. Like what's the industry like? Fill me in. Like what's it like?
Um, in my 13-year career,
Hmm.
I've only worked with two black people.
Wow.
My first role, I was in a predominantly female engineering team.
Oh, okay.
But that was 10 years ago, 20. I've got a mate of mine who works at quite a reputable company. She's in an all engineer team, and that's the first time she's worked with all women. Um, I'd say predominantly the teams I've been in have been white. I'd say I probably have worked mostly at startups. So that might be a reason as well, to be honest with you,
Okay.
where I haven't seen as much diversity. But I'd say in engineering teams that I've seen, they haven't been the most diverse.
Wow.
But that's solely based on where
Hmm.
I've worked, my experience, and
Hmm.
being permanent in my first half of my career, and then in the last 5 years being a contractor. When you're a contractor, you're not really a part of the team. You're in there to do your job and you go home.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Which
I
I
mean,
like, to be honest.
yeah, it's nice because you can focus on delivery and you don't have to get involved in work politics. It's just not
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you want, but it doesn't.
Mhm.
It's not going to serve you. Your notice period is a week. Why? Why would you do that?
Exactly, exactly.
I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, it's been good so far, but the
Okay,
back end
okay.
has been hit and miss.
But why do you think that is? Do you feel like black people or people of color or women aren't interested in it, or it's kind of very clicky? It's like who you know to kind of get into the industry?
Um, I don't think there are enough
Hmm.
things in place to make people from diverse backgrounds comfortable in these spaces.
Mm.
In terms of so I had a, it's funny because at the first company I used to work at, I had an experience where I'd brought in like jollof rice for like
Oh.
lunch. Um, I had this white colleague who came over my shoulder and she put her nose right in my plate and was like, what is that type thing? And I was so offended because I was like, first of all, this is my lunch. I know it smells nice, but you're way too close and you are way too familiar. And it's like, when I complained about it to my manager,
Uh-huh.
and then a conversation was had with that member of staff. She
Mhm.
knows what she's done wrong.
Of course.
Um, and there's it's a common case where
Mm.
from different backgrounds and they will express parts of their culture, not because they're trying to bring their whole selves to wear, but
Mhm.
bro, I ate this yesterday at home, innit, and I'm
Yeah,
hungry.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And you're making it a thing just because you're not familiar, instead of being like, of asking a question, being like, oh, what's that? I haven't had that before. You know, there's ways
Yeah.
to inquire about someone's culture without feeling so othered, and
Yeah.
that was the problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
And
say
this is why,
there's
in my unpopular opinion, it's like women in the workplace face what they face, right? But race is always number one. Then it's gender. Then it's sexuality. Okay. So it's
I
like,
you know,
yes, you were working with a bunch of women, but these white women still did that to you. Do you get what I mean? Forget that you're a man, right? But
mm-hmm,
this white woman still did this microaggression
mm-hmm,
and it was swept under the rug like, oh, it's fine. What do you mean? That's just asking a simple question.
100%.
If
And the
I
thing,
ask, but if I ask, oh, have you showered today? That's wrong, right?
yeah,
Do you
and the thing,
understand what I'm saying?
you
But you guys are
language,
freely on the internet saying you lot don't shower, right?
mate.
But if I say, oh, so did you shower today? Like, and
I
you're
know
all up in my food, like, what are you doing?
when I got that job, I used to live in Tottenham,
Okay.
and back then Tottenham had a very bad rep.
Mm.
So
Mm.
saying I grew up in Tottenham,
Yeah.
hate,
Mm-hmm.
I just hated the response, the facial response after. I just hated it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, you don't seem like you grew up in Tottenham. Like you don't. What you're really saying is that I don't like. I know what you're saying, but you don't realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not. What were
Yeah.
you expecting? What actually were you expecting? Then
Exactly.
what
Mm-hmm.
you see in the news, that's what you're expecting, type thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand because I've had the same thing. Like when I used to work at Discovery Channel many years ago,
Mm.
and Top Boy had gone on to Netflix, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'm minding my business, coming into work to speak to my colleagues, and then my one of my bosses was like, "Oh, I've been watching Top Boy. Did you grow up like this? Did you grow up in that area?" I said, "Nope, that's not me. Okay, no. But you're watching Top Boy, and you're like, okay, well, I know some black guys that work. This must be their life. Like, oh my gosh. Now, mind you, one of my other friends, who I'm still friends with to this day, he had that life, right? He was about that life, okay? But he's running his mouth and telling them like, oh yeah, that's how it used to be. Me and my boys, da, 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 da. And his other friend used to work there, so that's why. So then I come in and I'm like, whoa, 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 what's going on? I don't know this life, okay? I didn't grow up
Like,
in the hood,
no,
okay? I might have family who are in the hood, but I'm not the hood, okay?
the worst thing is
So I totally understand.
they can
Hmm.
clearly understand
Yeah,
that there are people that they can't relate to because of where they grew up who are of the same skin
yeah,
color.
yeah,
But when
yeah.
it comes to the backgrounds of other people, they will immediately assume that, oh, you grew up like that as well, didn't you?
Mhm. Yeah,
What
yeah.
the difference is? Because I know the way you dress. You didn't walk in Discovery Channel looking like you grew up in an area like that.
No,
I mean, you also
neither do you. I know how you dress. Like,
don't even speak like that. You
no.
wouldn't,
Oh.
knowing me now, no
Hmm.
one know I grew up in Tottenham.
No.
So it's yeah, the diversity is not great, but
Okay. Hmm.
I'd say it's a bit better nowadays because there are more open-minded women in higher positions,
Okay.
so more black people in higher positions
Good. Good.
than I'd say
Good.
they were ever before.
Uh-huh.
Senior leadership, when it's diverse, you're usually going to have a decent working environment.
Good, good. I love that. So, did that lead? Well, I would say, did any of these experiences lead this to kind of develop your own app or your own websites, like what you've been doing with Points Pilot, or is it just because you just want to find new ways to just further your career?
No, they haven't, just because in and amongst all of that, the
Mhm.
story I told you is the only
Uh-huh.
thing that I was annoyed about in the past
Uh,
13 years. I've had a
okay. Uh-huh.
reasonably smooth development experience, and I'd
Uh-huh.
say to the point where one of my mates left tech. She's a black woman. She completely
Mm-hmm.
left engineering specifically. Was like, I can't do this. And
Mm-hmm.
she specifically said she can no longer, with a clear conscience, advise black women to get into software engineering.
Wow.
When, and that was like 5, maybe 6 years ago.
Mm.
Uh, so I'd say I've had it good.
Okay.
Really inspired me to sort of go out and create my own companies. I've always predominantly my experiences in startups.
Okay.
You learn quite a bit in startups, but also my industry sort of pivoted maybe a few years ago where you had developers just building products,
Mm-hmm.
marketing, and now they're making a killing.
Okay.
And I'm talking about 30K, 40K, 50K, 60K a month.
A month.
And I thought,
Boom.
well, these guys don't have two heads. They've
Mm-hmm.
clearly iterated through, found an idea that works,
Mm-hmm.
themselves a few skills, and now they're making a comfortable living.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I've got ideas. I've
Mm-hmm.
got good software.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, I thought I'll give it a go. That's
Okay.
that's that's how I landed at Points Pilot. I built one before this one, but I didn't know enough about marketing, or I didn't try enough. Say,
Yes, because I liked that app. I was going to ask you about that. The one where
free,
it was like
right?
saving you money from buying takeaways.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
loved that concept was so good. I was like, what? And so I've sort of seen you pivot into a points pilot, but I was like, I really like that idea. Really,
Thank
really like
you,
that
man.
idea.
Thank you. I actually haven't shut down that idea.
Okay.
I'm working on this one at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back to that one when I've got a bit better at marketing because it is a problem. I don't know if people want to pay for that problem yet because that's what business is, but
Right. Mm-hmm.
it's an idea that people care about because I still have people ask me about it till this very day. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah, that's what led to it. I quite like the idea of being able to. I tell you what, it was Barbados really.
Okay.
The idea that if I could sustain a living without having to be in an office, I could go back to Barbados and just do whatever I want.
Love it.
Uh,
Very
do
good.
you see what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Freedom. And I've got so many examples, as I said, like on Twitter now, well, I guess X, but I'm in a community where I'm seeing posts of people, oh, I started this app last week and now I've got X hundreds users and I'm making X amount. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's my North Star right now.
Okay.
Um, if others can do it, I can definitely do it. I can give it a good goal bare minimum. But I know with these things, it's about consistency and iteration. Your
Yeah.
first idea might not take off, your second idea might not take off, your third,
Mm-hmm.
or one of them's going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I am now. I'm in pretty much the experimentation phase
Okay.
and seeing where that goes.
Okay. So tell us more about Points Pilot. Like, what is it about? What can you do on your platform?
All of my ideas are born out of my own personal problems, right?
Okay.
Points Pilot is a Chrome extension that helps you collect Avios points whilst you shop online. Now, a lot of people know they can collect Avios points from retailers when they're shopping online because Avios have a shopping portal. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is you forget to go and log into that portal
Mm-hmm.
and go through the Avios store to collect your points. And then you end up paying full price on flights when you're leaving the country because you don't have
Okay.
enough points to exchange to get a discount.
Okay. Right, right, right.
I thought I don't really want to pay full price on flights anymore. And also I'm just missing out on upgrades, better seats and you know what I mean? I'm missing out
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Well, I'm a developer, I've got the skills to build it. So I've built it now. It works. I've got a few users at the minute. And it does exactly what it says in the tin. You can be on COS, Selfridges, ASOS, Argos. You'll get a little
Mm.
top right of your screen and
Okay.
also it's available. Lets you click through, go through to the Avio store,
Mm-hmm.
get points. Um, so yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
I did not know about this, okay? Because I've been flying back and forth to LA, spending all this money, okay? And I'm planning, like, my whole family and I were planning to go Jamaica next year. So it's
Oh,
like saving towards that. So I'm like, okay, let me do this. See, this is why we need it because I want
and
to be traveling, okay, maybe not first class one day, but
yeah,
premium economy. You know what I'm saying? At least. I'm
it's
six
honest.
foot two and I'm 6'1.5", sorry. I need the leg room, okay? Like I have long legs. So yeah,
So
so
it's
I love this. I think it's great.
a spending in
Hmm.
flights. That's
Yeah.
essentially I'm trying to help people do.
Literally.
And everyone's gonna shop before their holiday. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
throughout the year anyway. You might as well
Mm-hmm.
get
Yeah, exactly.
time. It's not close. Do you see what I mean? It just makes sense.
No, it does, because like I was gonna go south of France last month, and like I was trying to like find flights, and it was like £600.
There you
What do you
go.
mean? It's down the road. Why are you charging me £600? You know, but if I had these points, I could have probably saved loads of money on that, you know. And so I think it's important to have, because you never know when you, especially like our types of careers where we're going to be traveling and doing stuff and whatever, you
Yeah,
never know when you're going to need to buy a ticket, you know,
100%.
to be there. And so you want to be able to get it as cheap as possible, you know. You can't just wait for BA sale all the time, you know, like, you
I mean,
know, so
the sale is all right. It's not really fantastic, but
nah,
like I went
but
to the car
I
last year
can
for like
get
good return.
exactly.
I know
That's the thing.
points.
Exactly. And that's if you're the deal is more so if you're traveling economy,
There,
and you know, it's
there you
like,
go.
yeah, you know, you got somebody next to you just stinking up
Chatting.
the joint,
Aye.
weirdo. You
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
next
yeah.
person, you're like, ah, damn, I didn't get that. Well, for me, I like the NC. Okay, I
Mm,
like the NC. I want to be able to get up and go to the bathroom when I want. I don't
mm.
want to be asking like, excuse me when you're fast asleep, and it's like, oh,
Right.
I can't. You know, this is why I need first class. I need to be stretched out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hi, sir. Would you like? Yes.
Favorite.
Yes. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I love that. I love that. So where can people like find your website? How can they like start using it so they can remember to use it?
So it's live on pointspilot.co at the
Mm-hmm.
minute. It's gonna stay live on there as well. There's a 7-day free trial, and it's available to everyone. You just need to be on a Chrome browser, install it, and it just works in the background. You don't need.
Okay. So would you do it like, I don't know if maybe this is a dumb question, but
Oh.
like I'm also like on Amazon. That's what I use most of the time. Like, is it something that can be added onto Amazon, or is that not compatible? How does that work?
So the good thing about if you're shopping in Chrome and it's a Chrome extension, if you're on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon and Amazon has Avios offers or it's
Okay.
a part of the Avios store, it will just pop up. I know
Mm-hmm.
for from experience of using it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Amazon does offer Avios points.
Yeah. Okay. Because I mostly use it on my app, so I'd have to like go on my computer and literally
Yeah,
shop like that.
it's
Okay,
an
fine.
extension. It's a browser, isn't it? So I
Right.
don't
Okay, fine. Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be able to be used on mobile.
Right.
But
Okay.
mobile, they have the Avios app, but again, the problem exists on mobile. You're gonna go on an online store, you're not gonna remember to check the Avios app.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's a problem on desktop where people
Mm-hmm.
make their purchases, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess gives them the best chance of creating the most Avios points. So
Right. Okay. I love that. I love that. Well, Chima, it has been great speaking to you, finding out all about what you do,
mm,
educated me. So at least I know what I could do to probably get some tech money, because I need that tech money. And you know, because listen, I'm trying to bridge the gap and everything, and I'm about to do like my master's in September. So it's like,
I'll congrats.
yeah, thank you. So it's like, yeah, so I need I need things coming in while I'm freelancing and doing loads of stuff, you know? So that's really good to know as well. And it's just great to hear more about your industry and the intricacies of it as well and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So where can people like find you to stay updated with the marketing of what you're doing with your platforms? And obviously, do you have a social media account for
I
was it?
I don't as yet, but I have
Okay.
my personal TikTok, unfortunately, whose name I've forgotten. So I will. Oh, it's Chima NW.
Okay.
That's one.
Perfect. Okay. And okay, well, yeah, we'll have that as well up so you can promote that and people can check
Yeah,
out the website as well. So it will be really good just for people to use that, because I feel like, especially in this economy, you need to be using your Nectar cards, your club card points, your
yeah,
Avios points, like everything, because we need that right now. Because yeah, interest rates are going down, but everything else is going up. So it's like, so
yeah.
what do you want to do? What are you trying to do to us? Like, you know, and yeah, nobody's kind of really changing anything. So yeah, so it's been great hearing about what you do as well. Thanks again for coming on the show. Please follow him on TikTok as well, and then just check out his website, please, because we all need these points as well. So yeah, so thanks guys for listening. You can follow me all on my usual socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. Stay tuned for the episodes coming soon.